lesson, we're going to learn about classes. Classes are very important in programming because they allow you to create objects. Classes can be a difficult concept to understand at first, so let's use an analogy. Have you ever made Christmas sugar cookies? Sugar cookies are made with a cookie cutter. If you have a snowman cookie cutter, you can use it to make snowman cookies. The cookie cutter itself isn't a snowman cookie, but it is used as the template to create snowman cookies. This is how classes work too. You use the class to create an instance of the class, just like you use the cookie cutter to make cookies. Let's see how this works. So let's create a new JavaScript file called classes.js. And now in this JavaScript file, we will create a new class called cat. So we'll say class cat. And the first thing we need to do after we declare a class is we need to use the curly braces because those will outline the class. Then the next thing we need to do is we need to add something called a constructor. A constructor is what actually makes the instance of the class. So in this case, the constructor will be what creates the cat. So we'll say constructor, and then in parentheses, we will pass in any variables that we want to use to create the cat. So let's pass in name and age. So our cat will have a name and it will have an age. And then we use curly braces again. These curly braces are for the constructor. And inside the constructor, we're going to take those variables that are passed in and we will use them to create the cat. So we're going to use a term called this. Now, this can seem very confusing, but all it means is just this class right here, and then we say name. So we're saying in this class, we're going to set up a new variable called name, and we're going to set it to equal to the name that we just passed in the constructor. So then we'll say this dot age, and we'll set this age to be the age that got passed in. And that's all we need for our constructor to create our cat class. So now underneath the curly braces for the cat class, we're going to use our class to instantiate a new cat. So don't be afraid of that word. Just like you use the snowman cookie cutter to make the snowman cookie, we are using the cat class to create an instance of a cat. So we'll say constant and then my first cat. And then we have an equal sign and then we say new cat because we are creating a new cat with the cat class. So let's pass in a name. And because the name is a string, we put it in quote marks. So let's name our cat Fluffy. And then let's give our cat an age. We'll say 5. And so now we have just created our first cat. So let's see what happens if we log something out. So we'll say console.log. And first, let's just log out my first cat. And we will see what we get. So remember to save. And then we will do node classes.js. Okay, and look at that, we got our cat back. We can see that our cat is an object. We learned about objects last week, and its name is Fluffy, and its age is 5. And just like with the objects that we learned about last week, we can also just reference one part of our cat object. So we can say console.log my first cat.name. So save that and let's run. And we can see Fluffy. It returned Fluffy to us. Okay, so now let's make another cat because that's what's useful about a class. It allows you to make more than one of something. Just like with your snowman cookie cutter, you can use it to make one snowman or you can use it to make a dozen snowmen. You can use your cat class to make more than one cat. So let's say constant my second cat equals new cat. And let's call this cat Bella, and we will make her 3 years old. And there we go. Now we've created our second cat. So let's log out something for our second cat. So let's do console.log. We'll say my second cat.age. Okay, and we'll save. So what are we expecting to get when we see that last log statement? Well, we're expecting to see 3 because when we created our second cat, we made her 3 years old. So that's what we should get in response. Let's see what happens. And there we go. She is 3. So next week, we're going to learn about how you can use classes to also add functions inside them so that your cat that you've created can do things. But we'll save that for next week. Thanks for watching this video. If you found my training helpful, please like this video and share it with others. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single lesson. If you're enjoying Monday Morning Automation and you'd like to learn even faster, be sure to check out my book, The Complete Software Tester, which is available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon.com.